One of the most iconic people in the world is today's special featured guest, whom is known everywhere. He was so ahead of himself when he was a younger singer that at 22 years of age he sat on Joan Rivers in America and explained his look and who he was and his distaste for the press, always asking the same boring questions. And it's honestly worth something that you should check out on YouTube. And today's guest is Boy George. And the reason that I am selecting this song is I feel it's so underrated. But there has been so much upset because of COVID. There's so much upset because of the flooding around the world in Austria and different countries at the moment, that we are all victims of sadness. We're in some aspect. And this song really covers it word for word. If you've lost somebody, if you're feeling sad because of a breakup, if you're feeling sad because you lost your beloved pet, even, the relatable words to your situation of loss is so compelling that I find this song to be the most incredible ballad ever written by any artist. And this song is called Victims. It's from 1983, and I am calling it, as I said, because I put reacting to the best ballad of the 80s. And it is. We don't really need to go into too much detail about Boy George. He's so synonymous with so many things that it would be confusing to try and you can't summarize this guy. But so let's listen to the song. I have the lyrics in front of me. This is the first time that this song has been translated for people around the world to listen to in over 16 languages, because I translate all my own videos into different languages. So look for yours, enjoy the lyrics, because this is the first time lyrically it's been done in over 16 languages for the world to listen to as well. He's on The Voice in Australia, but today he's on The Voice of my channel. So let's listen, and let's listen to what I'm going to term as the greatest song ballad of the 80s. Take it away, Boy George, and the most underrated song I think of all his collection, Victims.
The victims we know so well, they shine in your eyes when they kiss and tell. Strange places we never see, but you're always there, like a ghost in my dream. And I keep on telling you, please don't do the things you do. When you do those things, pull my puppet strings, have the strangers fight for you. We love and we never tell what places our hearts in the wishing well. Love leads us into the stream, and it's sink or swim like it's always been. And I keep on loving you, it's the only thing to do. When the angels sing, there are greater things, can I give them all to you? Pull the strings of emotion, take a ride into unknown pleasure. Feel like a child on a dark night, wishing there was some kind of heaven. I could be warm with you smiling, hold out your hand for a while. The victims, we know them so well, so well. the strangest void for you. Show my heart some devotion, push aside those that whisper never. Feel like a child on a dark night, wishing we could spend it together. I could be warm with you smiling, hold out your hand for a while. The victims, we know them so well, so well.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was just a memory and a half. I'm just going back to the harp bit because I think we need to leave it on that particular note. I'm blown away because even after all these years, that song brings so many memories, and some funny and not so funny. The funny aspect was I remember this was playing in the family home, and we live in a beautiful place called Carlingford in Ireland. It's a beautiful village. Check it out, Google search. And it's just, I remember my father had done a hard day's work, went up the fields. He was attending duties there to the cattle or whatever he was doing. And he came in and it was being played, and I was sitting, I was home from school, and I just remember going over questions and different things because I just sat my big exams called the Leaving Certificate, and to make it short, this song was on the television, and he stood for the 3 minutes while it was being played. Then he turned around to me and said, "Hasn't she got the most beautiful voice? That's unheard of, that kind of music." Because it was very orchestral, and the setup of the video, all of it was very almost revolutionary at the time because nobody was doing this kind of thing with an orchestra. So and I turned around and said, "Dad, that's a man, and he's called Boy George, and that's his persona in the music industry, how he dresses." And one of the most compelling and surprising things was my father went, "Well, even if it is a man, you can't take away," he said, "that I wouldn't have known that." He said, "I'm of a different generation," but he said, "You can't take it away that he has an amazing voice." It goes on to, "We love, we never tell, the places in our hearts and the wishing well. Love leads us into a stream, and it sink or swim like it's been. And I keep on loving you. It's the only thing to do." So no matter of the upsets, he's still going to continue that love because the bond was there before he fell in love with this person. The bond was there, and I'll keep on loving you because for him, for George to carry on with his life, it's the only thing he can do is to keep it solid, and not make it nasty break up, but just let things go the way they're going. If they break up, they break up. It's the only way he can deal with it, but he's not going to be nasty about any aspect of the breakup. He's not going to ring and be angry. He's just going to let things, dissolve naturally. And then it says, "When the angel sings, there are greater things. I can give them all to you." And then it talks about You know, in your head, you always hear a choir, and in your head, angels can be reflective of praying. So maybe George was kind of praying that things would be better. Um, and he wanted to more or less say, when he said that there are great things, can I give them all to you? He's more or less asking himself the question before he verbally says it. He's privately saying, oh, I wish, you know, things would be better. There's so much I can give, so much more I can do for this person. And then it's, you know, the chorus, pull the strings of emotion, take a ride into the unknown pleasure, feel like a child in the dark night wishing there was some kind of heaven. You know, when it comes to emotions, when it comes to the unknown, as it mentions there, you become very childlike and very vulnerable. And love makes you vulnerable, especially when it's not going so well. So you wish there was salvation, some kind of heaven, some way out of this situation, that it would be better. So I could be warm with you, smiling, hold out your hand for a while. The victims, we know them so well, so well. So therefore, you know, you hold out your hand and you take that hand, and you're the person that can lead that person to on a road to a better place. And then it mentions the victims we know so well, they shine in your eyes when they kiss and tell, strange places we never see, but you're always there like a ghost in my dream, and I keep on telling you, please don't do the things you do. So it's a process of, we keep thinking about what could have been said, what could have been done to make things better, but it's moving forward, and it's just dissolving the relationship, and it's kind of but even when George is closing his eyes, he's still thinking of that person, because that's what happens when you break up with somebody. You don't automatically forget them, you just go with the breakup and you allow it to happen. And then it says, show my heart some devotion, push aside those that whisper never, feel like a child in a dark night wishing we could spend it together. So privately in his own thoughts, when he's deep in thought, you know, he's still devoted. The heart's still devoted to this person. And even though he's got the whispers, his subconscious saying, let it go, just forget about him. Or her, because as Boy George said on Joan Rivers' show in the 80's, I like both sexes. And so he's got the voices in the head saying, let it go, never, it's never going to happen. So it finishes, I could be warm with you, smiling, hold out your hand for a while, the victims, we know them so well, so well. In other words, they have both been surrounded by breakups and hardships in the situations they're in. And they know all of these people personally. And instead of being a victim, as Joe says, hold out your hand for a while and I will comfort you, because we know what they've been through. So let's just comfort each other through this rather than be nasty. So that's basically what I got from the song and the lyrics. And it's a classic. Those lyrics that came up on the screen will mean different to every person that reads them. Will have a situation they can relate to those lyrics. I found it was the most compelling and powerful song of the 80's. Boy George's wonderful memory that will live with me